Welcome, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
See who's
Um,
here.
I know I was about to do the same thing.
Familiar names.
Iris is here, Beth, Denise.
Feel free to show your video if you'd like. You don't have to. Let us know in the chat. Hi, Janine. Let us know in the chat where you're joining from. And also today we're going to be talking about masking. We have a few topics we want to cover specifically with masking, but if you want to kick it off with telling us why you're here, what do you want to learn about? Do you want to learn about a particular mask or mask or how often or what are you yearning to learn? All right. As
Pretty
those
quiet
start
so far.
to
Yeah,
everyone's typing at the same time.
yeah.
I feel like we hear that often that people don't really mask
hmm
just because they don't know what to do. So I'm excited to talk about this because I love masking. It's one of my
hmm
favorite things to do in the world.
Yeah.
It's just so relaxing and it's just like time where you can just be, I don't know, you're not like forced to relax, you just are relaxing.
hmm Best masks for brightness and reviving. I think we already know which one that one's gonna be. Uh, Yes, the rejuvenation, or excuse me, re the rejuvenating facial oils back in stock. If you're anyone who's been like waiting for that.
I think we have a lot of products back in stock. So if you've been looking and you've seen things that are out, I think now is the time um, to do it.
Best for large pores.
Right. Okay, cool. Should we kick it off with what we're offering today? Grace, do you want to share the special?
Yes, let me go ahead and put it in the chat as well. But we are offering 25% off all of our facial masks, which is very exciting, with the code ASC Mask Love, which again, it's in the chat. This code is not applicable towards subscriptions, so just a note there. And it is live until 1 p.m. Pacific time, so you have a few hours to shop. And then additionally, with all orders over $100, you're going to get a free Rose Hydrosol Travel, which we launched last month, so you should definitely try it. But if you have any questions at all, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'm happy to help.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you're watching this at a later date, it's not live anymore. So just join our live events and you'll get special offers as well.
Yep.
Okay. Kate, where do you want to start?
Where do we want to start? I think I want to start with introducing the different mask options that we have here at Anne Marie Skincare. Some of these questions seem like, what should I use and what's the best? But let me just tell you what we even have. So our first one here, and this is called the coconut honey mask. And this is one of my absolute favorites. I actually used this yesterday. If you can't tell, I'm getting over a cold. And sometimes when I'm sick, my skin is just incredibly dry. And I put this on yesterday. I was just like, I need so much support. It's very rich. This is a really beautiful blend anchored in coconut oil, and honey. We've got a couple more things going on in it. Smells delicious. I feel like this one, not as much anymore, but a lot of times people initially, I remember when I started, people would be like, "Can you eat it?" Which technically you can, but the next question is always like, "Why? Don't eat your mask." But this is just a really nourishing one. This is great for super dry skin. This is great for skin that is really just needing that kind of bolster of moisture. So for the very dry, for the dehydrated, for the very sensitive, the coconut honey mask feels really awesome. The
Mhm.
next one, if you've ever been on a live call with us before, you've probably heard us talk about it. This is called the Illuminating Pearl Mask. And the illuminating pearl mask is this beautiful, soft, very hydrating, really just lovely feeling mask blend. It does have some brighteners in it. So it has uva ursi, it has licorice root. Somebody I think had asked about like a brightening mask or mask for brightening. This one feels gorgeous. And with the uva ursi and the licorice root, we're able to help kind of soften dark spots if you've got sun damage or other areas that are just darker on the face. Um, but this also has a crushed pearl powder, and this crushed pearl powder really adds this luminosity to the skin. This feels extra radiant, extra glowy when you rinse it off. And then our final one that I've got here is the charcoal cacao mask. And I want to show off this one because this one is a pitch black, super, super dark, very, very concentrated mask. Of course, anchored with charcoal. There's cacao. We've got some turmeric in here. It's this very antioxidant rich mask. So this one I'll often be recommending for folks who have maybe oilier T-zones or they're working on softening signs of aging, but the skin is maybe in the normal combo range. Or if they've got actively oily skin, this one is absolutely very supportive for. I love this one because although it's got the charcoal and it does kind of dry with like a flat finish to it, it doesn't get really like chalky, cakey, crackly like some of those either clay or charcoal masks can. So this is the charcoal here. Um, I'm gonna go up and see if any questions came in while I was getting into those. Does it wash? Does it stain your face? Oh, no, no, no. The charcoal cacao mask rinse is completely clean. Now, I am really careful when I use it to make sure that I'm putting it on and I'm not like wearing like a white shirt. I've never gotten it on my clothing. I don't know if it would stain your clothing. Usually I just like either put it on right before the shower or I put it on right before I'm gonna rinse it off and I've got something on that I'm not super worried about. So I haven't noticed. Do you know, Rach, if the charcoal stains clothing?
I don't think it, I mean, I think it would get out eventually, but it's charcoal, it's dark. We used to sell a charcoal colored washcloth,
Mm,
so that you can rinse it off with that and really clean it out of your pores in that way. I would suggest using a dark washcloth to rinse it, and
yeah.
then if you do get on your clothes, rinse it right away.
Yeah. Let's see. How thick or thin is it best to apply? This is a really great question.
Before you
So,
get into this, Kate,
mm-hmm.
things. So I was just chatting with Grace to figure out if we can add in two other products just to soften and sweeten the deal here.
Mm.
Added in the Radiant Sea Mask and Polish and the Resurfacing Facial Exfoliant, which
Ooh.
either an exfoliant or a mask. Do you want to talk about those really quick and then dive into how to apply?
I do. I love that we've expanded those. So the Radiant Sea Mask and Polish, this is this product here. It's a loose, dry powder, and you shake it into your hand, you add your liquid to it. This goes really, really well as either a mask or you can just use it and buff it on the skin like a polish. It's got these beautiful clays. We've got this red kind of rose clay in it, this kind of perfect blend of very vitamin C rich fruits and florals that is also very supportive in evening out the tone and evening out the texture of the skin. So the Radiant Sea Mask and Polish is another one that's awesome as a mask. It also is really, really lovely mixed into other masks. So if you kind of want this, in more intense vitamin C mixed with something that's maybe a little on the softer side, the illuminating pearl and the radiant sea. This is one of my absolute favorite combinations to put together, these two here. And then the other one, I love that we're doing this one. So this is called the resurfacing facial exfoliant. Now you wear this one like a mask. It's a gel-based consistency. It doesn't have like, beads or texture or scrub to it like a lot of exfoliants will, but this has a lactic acid component to it. And so as this is on the skin, this is actively exfoliating the skin. So this one, you'll pump it on your fingertips. This is after you've washed your face. You'll apply it in a nice thin layer. You don't need a super rich layer, really, of any of these, but for this one in particular. And then you let it set on the skin. This one, it's super normal to have a little bit of activity. So you might have, it might feel a little bit warm. You might have some tingling. It might feel like there's exfoliating going on because there is with this lactic acid component to it. So, and these can all be kind of mixed and matched. So with any of these, you could use kind of two masks back to back. You could do something like the resurfacing facial exfoliant and follow that with the illuminating pearl. This combination used to be what I would recommend for brides or mothers of brides. And the only reason I don't is because I feel like I haven't worked with a bride in a while. Because this is like a very glowy, very brightening combination. Um, yeah, or you could use the Radiant Sea and then come in with something like the charcoal cacao or the coconut honey, or you could just use them on their own. So that's exciting. I'm glad that we did that. Um, let's see. Uh, Rachel, do you see any questions here as I'm going through them?
One person was asking Beth, and I answered it, but I'll answer for everyone. Her skin gets congested, but she also gets dry skin when she's not feeling great. And I just responded that my skin gets really dry and kind of just out of whack. And right now I'm kind of getting over something, and I did the pearl mask this morning. This morning I woke up with not a lot of sleep, and I mean, I look a little tired right now, but you should have seen me before I did the mask. Mask is great for just really waking up your skin, brightening your skin, giving it like a boost of hydration. So it's not as moisturizing as the coconut honey mask, but it's incredible. It has the aloe, it has the honey, which are both humectants, which are very hydrating for your skin when it's dehydrated. And then just put some extra oil on afterwards, which is what I did. I did the cream.
Hmm.
Uh,
Perfect. I also see Beth's question here. Do we exfoliate and mask on the same day? So every time I talk about this in consultations, which shameless plug, we have a consultation that's starting right after this, that if you have questions that don't get answered, we'd love to see you in that call. Maybe Grace, if you want to link us that, and we'll link the Zoom link for that again towards the end. But what I'll usually say is it's kind of up to you. For some people, it makes a lot of sense to stack those habits, so to exfoliate and then immediately go into masking. For some people, they don't prefer it. And with some exfoliants, so like the Radiant Sea, this is definitely one that can be used more than once a week. So it might look like you're doing this and then following it with a mask one of those days, and then one of those days you just exfoliate. But it really comes down to preference. Most of the time, you don't need to. I think it's a nice kind of treatment experience when you do it back to back, and you kind of enhance the feel of the mask when you've exfoliated right before, but it's definitely not required. I use the illuminating pearl mask fairly regularly without doing much beforehand, so
I
not a requirement.
feel like
Yeah,
it's not required, but if you do it, you'll notice that much more of a
yeah,
difference, you know.
yeah.
Judith keeps asking thinness, application, how little do we apply? I'd like to say with the pearl mask, I like to do a thick layer just because it's great. And I don't know, you can leave it on your skin for hours if you want.
Yeah.
I like to leave it on for at least 30 minutes, even though you'll see benefits, even if you only have a little bit of time and you leave it in certain areas. Like sometimes I'll just apply it underneath my eyes, and that's enough. But then the charcoal cacao mask, I would probably do a thinner layer personally. It also depends on your skin. So, Kate, I want to hear your thoughts on that. And then the coconut
Mhm.
honey, just also depending on your skin type, if you're more prone to congestion or if you're super dehydrated and dry at that time. So,
Yeah.
that's there.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I do usually do a little bit of a heavier layer with the illuminating pearl. I find that the illuminating pearl, especially if I'm having a stretch where my skin's really dry, it just sinks right in and it feels awesome. But I really love this kind of lush feel with it. So I'll do a little bit heavier. With the charcoal cacao, I don't know that I notice a significant difference whether I layer it thicker or keep it pretty thin. The biggest difference I notice is that it takes longer to kind of dry on the skin. And so if I had maybe like an area that might have some more congestion, like maybe in the T-zone or along the chin, if you get hormonal breakouts or something like that, I might do a little bit of a heavier layer of the charcoal cacao, but otherwise, it doesn't take much for you to see it very clearly on the skin. So that one could stay nice and thin. And then with the coconut honey, I feel like I usually go on the thinner side with this one too. And my skin is on the dry side. I don't know that I would name it as like super, super dry, except for, in situations. So if you were somebody who had very, very dry, very parched skin, it might make sense to go with a thicker layer of something like the coconut honey. So that was a roundabout answer to say it can kind of depend on your skin, but it's not going to be wrong if you go thinner with all of the masks. So. Let me dive in and see some questions here. Okay, looks like these are all getting answered. I kind of want to do a giveaway.
I love that.
Yeah? I would love to hear. So if you haven't been on a consult or a live call with us before, what we do is we ask a question and then you put your answer in the chat and then we select from those answers our winner. I think I'd like to give away the illuminating pearl mask, which is my personal favorite, this one here. But I would love to hear, and this is one of my favorite questions, if Anne Marie were to launch a mask that we don't already have, what would you like to see from us?
Mm,
Ooh, cucumber. Oh, that's cool.
mm. Cooling. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the med mask. So, Maria, the Radiant C is a pretty solid replacement for the purifying med mask.
Mm.
If that was one that you use pretty regularly, this one. It is different, but as far as how it felt and what it was doing on the skin, the Radiant C is quite similar. So if you haven't tried that one, that could meet that need.
I love the sea moss. I started doing that and it's really nice.
Mm.
A rose mask. Is that, Denise, would that be hydrating or would it be clay? What is in there? Balancing oily skin. Amy, I would suggest the charcoal cacao mask for balancing oily skin. But if there's something about that that you're not crazy about, let us know because I'd love to make some changes to it. Same Catherine with congestion. Ooh, avocado.
Yeah.
Cooling idea.
What would go into a cooling mask? Like mint and cucumber and
Yeah.
mm,
Maybe some
aloe.
cucumber.
Hmm.
Mm. I think that would be a great product for salt and blue too.
Ooh, that would be really nice for salt and blue.
Mm. Neroli moss mask. I like the name of that. Should we choose two winners, Grace?
Ooh, dark spots. So the illuminating pearl does have uva ursi and licorice root, Lisa. And both of those are targeted brighteners. They're called tyrosinase inhibitors, and they're specifically supportive. Spearmint and aloe. This makes me think of this like we make this blend for sunburns over the summer, and it's like a CBD coconut oil that we put peppermint and lavender in and aloe and these and mix it, and it just is so good at taking the sting out of sunburn. Seaweed
What did
rose.
you say was the name of the one for the dark spots again? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The illuminating pearl.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
And we do have two winners. Our winners are Eris, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Aura Markel. So hopefully I pronounced those correctly. I'll put them in the chat. Before I give away winners today, I do have a quick form for you to fill out. It's just for your name and email, and then I will email you after the call to get your product sent your way. So keep a lookout for that in the chat. But yay, Eris and Aura.
Congrats.
Yes. Yay.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well, I like
Yeah, very exciting. These are some solid ideas.
mhm. Cool. Um, where else do we want to go into? I kind of want to talk a little bit more about the resurfacing facial exfoliant.
Mm-hmm.
Often hear refining pores and brightening and tone and texture and all of those things. So I want to cover that and also cover how, as we're approaching summertime, the sun's out and stronger, to always wear sunscreen after using activated ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. So with the resurfacing facial exfoliant, this is one, it's kind of like it just checks a lot of boxes as far as addressing some needs in the skin. It does have lactic acid. So lactic acid is an exfoliant for the skin. Lactic acid is going to work by gently breaking up what are called desmosomes that are like these dead skin cells that will hold skin together. And we have a high enough percentage of the lactic acid in here that you do oftentimes feel activity with this one. I mentioned that earlier, but it's not uncommon for people to put it on and to be a little bit like, oh, okay, this is on the skin. And that can vary from person to person. Somebody might put it on and not really feel too much. Somebody might put it on and feel a lot. It just kind of depends on what your skin is like. The resurfacing facial exfoliant is definitely one that you don't want to apply if you know you are incredibly sensitive, or if you've just done something like you went really heavy with the botanical lactic toner for a couple days, and you know that the skin's a little tender, or really heavy with the activated night serum and our revitalize, and the skin's a little tender. It's going to feel that much more active if you've already got skin that's on the thin side. But for skin that's comfortable, normal, maybe you get sensitive sometimes, but you can handle some product. This activity feels, not too intense. And this is a perfectly balanced one, the mask exfoliant, because we have the lactic acid, but then we also have this really beautiful cucumber distillate that's part of this. We have blue tansy, we have honey that's part of this as well. And so you get this immediate kind of soothing that's happening as the lactic acid is working on the skin. This is going to be super supportive for things like large pores. This is going to be super supportive for things like fine lines and creasing on the face. This is one of the best ingredients. Lactic acid is one of the best ingredients for brightening the skin. All of these concerns that we're kind of seeing sprinkled throughout, the resurfacing facial exfoliant is a really kind of, quick way to address this. It does, I think resurfacing is the best way to describe it. The skin feels nice and smoothed and resurfaced when you rinse this off. And you don't have to leave it on the full time. I think we say leave it on for about 10 minutes. Sometimes I have customers who have skin that's on the drier, sensitive side, and they'll apply that and they'll leave that on for maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5, and 5 is their sweet spot. So if the 10 minutes feels a little bit too long or too intense, then you might do something that's a little bit shorter. And that's perfectly fine too. Now, if you are somebody who has like thicker, tougher skin and you find that when you put this on, you feel like the skin, you're not really feeling that much activity, you can intensify it a little bit. So you could do something like buff the skin with a polish beforehand and then apply it. Or, apply this in the shower where you've got steam going that's a little active on the skin. So there are ways to intensify it. But I wouldn't do that right out the gate. I would start with this one, start with a couple of minutes and then rinse it off. And then Rachel mentioned, which I think is an incredibly valid point with a product like this, when you're exfoliating the skin, we want to be extra mindful to be protecting the skin. So this is one, I definitely wouldn't apply this and then put this on right before I was going to go on like a super long walk or put this on and then I know I'm going on a beach vacation the next day. I would be very conscientious of when you apply this and your sun exposure. And just being, extra careful to put your sun love on in the mornings before you go out into the world after
And this
using
is
this.
best as a nighttime treatment, the resurfacing facial exfoliant, I would say.
Hmm. Hmm.
You are going to mask over it, and then you're definitely going to wear sunscreen, or maybe you're not going outside that day, then it's okay. I also
Yeah.
mentioned if it's your first time using it, I mean, it also varies with how your skin reacts to it. So I've been using it for years. I don't even know how long. And sometimes I'll use it in 3 to 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I need it off. Like I want to rinse my
Hmm.
face. And other times it's 20 minutes go by and nothing.
Yeah.
So it just
Yeah.
depends on, like what you're eating, if your skin's dehydrated, where you're at with the moon, like just it
Yeah.
depends, you know?
Yep, and that's a really good point. I have the same experience where I'm like, sometimes I feel almost nothing, and then sometimes I put it on and I'm like, all right, 5 minutes is good tonight. That's all we're gonna do. And how often can you use this one? So this one I usually don't ever recommend more than once a week. Sometimes I'll work with people who will use it maybe once every 10 days, once every 2 weeks, depending on their skin. But it's pretty rare that I'd be like, ever shooting for more than once a week with this one. Could happen, but hasn't happened yet. Oh, and I do just want to call out that we do have the travel rose hydrosol giveaway with the orders over 100. And a lot of times when I'm putting a mask on, is this good sales to admit this? Like some mornings I'll wake up and I will not wash my face before I put my mask on. I always get my skin damp though. And so if you're curious about the rose hydrosol, we did a whole launch call where we got into this, but this is a really cool toner that we have that smells amazing. But this is a great one that I have used to put under masks. If I'm not going the whole, washing my face in the morning, I'm just gonna put, it's usually with pearl mask, just gonna put the pearl mask on super quick, misting the skin, and then applying that. Yeah,
I
big
was
fan.
gonna touch on, I don't think we did, how often you would use the resurfacing and any exfoliant for that matter. I know this is a mask call, but I think for that question is very specific to your skin, Denise and Karen. Um, but when you go into the summer months, I definitely think you can tone it back and not use it as frequently with
Yeah.
using facial exfoliant. But I would say, I mean, for me personally, I would use an activated exfoliant like a lactic acid, whether it's that or the botanical lactic toner, which I know it's not on discount today, but I do want to talk about it at some point. The best.
Uh,
I would say, using the resurfacing facial exfoliant once every 2 weeks if you're also incorporating regular exfoliation.
mhm.
But if you're not, then maybe a little bit more frequently. Kate, what would you say?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Um, yeah, and I think that she's got a good point. Like, how often are you using something like a textured scrub or using the botanical lactic toner? So this is a toner that we have that has lactic acid in it. can impact how frequently you're using something like the resurfacing facial exfoliant. But a general rule of thumb would be about once a week for this one. And it might be less for you, it might be a little more, or not more, sorry, it might be less, but once a week is pretty good.
And
Yeah.
the botanical toner, really quick, is kind of I guess a calmer version of a lactic exfoliant, but it's
Mm,
a more frequent treatment that you can use 3 to 5 times a week. Uh,
yeah.
use it in the evening. I sometimes use it right before I do a pearl mask, knowing that I'm going to rinse it off. This is in the daytime. Otherwise, I only use it in the evening, and I make sure to use Sun Love. Yeah, Karen, we just launched the Botanical Lactic Toner last year, so it can be confusing. One,
Yeah.
the resurfacing facial exfoliant is a mask, a gel, like a thicker consistency that you leave on for 20 minutes, not 20 minutes, 10, however many minutes your skin allows, and rinse off. The botanical lactic toner is one that you leave on. So, how I use it in the evening, I wash my face, phytonutrient cleanser, pat it dry, do a few pumps of the botanical lactic toner in the palm of my hand, apply it all around my face, avoiding right around my eyes. I personally let that dry first. Then I mist my skin with my botanical hydration mist or my rose hydrosol. I apply my serum. I apply my restorative facial cream or my oil, whatever I'm using for moisturizer. So that's how I incorporate it into the routine.
Yeah.
Kate, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I feel like that's pretty much how I'll do it too. I do love the lactic toner under the illuminating pearl. That combination is a really pretty combination. So if I'm going to use the two together, that's what I am doing. Um, let's see. Oh, thank you, Grace. Yeah, so Grace linked in the chat. We do have a call coming up in a few weeks, in a week, in a few weeks, soon, that we're specifically going to get into lactic acid and retinol and like how we're using these, how we're using our retinol alternatives, how it's different. Would love to hang out with you there. Um, So the resurfacing mask is it max 10 minutes? I've left it on longer. Usually what happens for me is 10 minutes is kind of like the peak of the activation. And so when you're leaving it on any longer than that, you're not getting the same experience. The lactic is kind of and then we're starting to fade a little bit. You might still be getting some nourishment from the hyaluronic acid, the cucumber distillate, the other experience or the other ingredients that are offering that experience, but the resurfacing is happening within that 10 minutes or so. Um, that's at least what I've experienced. Rachel, do you feel activity? Have you ever left it on longer than 10 minutes?
I mean, there's been some times where I didn't really feel anything at
Hmm.
a 15-minute mark, and then
Hmm.
okay. I think once it gets to a certain amount of minutes, it's not going to magically start having activity.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so Rachel mentioned the botanical lactic toner is a smaller percentage than the resurfacing by design. So this one is designed to be used with way more frequency. This is a couple times a week versus the resurfacing facial exfoliant. That one there. Yeah. Okay. What else do we want to get into here?
I want to do another giveaway and ask a very specific question. Um,
Okay.
we are in discussion of updating and kind of, I guess, enhancing our coconut honey mask. If we were to do that, what ingredients? I know you talked about what new mask you would like to see. Some of those can't be combined with coconut honey mask, but if we were to update and enhance the coconut honey mask, what would you like it to do? What ingredients would you like to see in it? Is there something about it that you want more? Or tell me your thoughts on the coconut honey mask specifically. Um, yeah.
Cool. Oh,
Okay.
make it like a pina colada mask. Lime and coconut.
Okay.
Nice.
These are all great.
These are all great. They're all so different, which is super
Yeah,
interesting.
give me a lot of really good ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, Immortelle. It's a solid suggestion.
And let's do one winner for this one, and then can we do another one right after for resurfacing? Because I feel like we've talked so much
Yeah,
about that one. Okay.
I'd love to. Yeah, love to.
Grace, do you have a winner for this one? Okay.
Yes, our winner is Julie. So Julie offered hibiscus, which I mean, hibiscus is in our Radiancy, but I love hibiscus, so I will never say no to hibiscus. But Julie is our winner, so let me put in the form for you right now in the chat. But yay, Julie.
Nice,
Congratulations.
nice, nice, nice. Perfect. Okay, so we'll let your fingers rest for a second because we've got another one right here. The next one we're doing is the resurfacing facial exfoliant. So this is the one that we've talked about quite a bit, the lactic acid here. And what I want to know, oh, I just had my question. What did I want to know? Oh, what makes a mask feel worth it to you? What
Mm,
makes a mask feel worth it for the price, for the time, for you to be putting it on your skin? What makes it feel worth it?
I like
Oh, nice. These are solid. And my fin skin feels soft and beautiful, luxurious and great smelling.
mm,
Hmm. Results. I feel like a lot of the responses are like different ways of saying like if it has results. Scents. Glowy. Lots of people love feeling hydrated after their masks. Lasting glow.
the people definitely want actives over other things.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hydration, aging, looking plump.
We do have a winner, and our winner is Maria. So yay, Maria. I'm
Hmm.
excited for you, and I will put the form in the chat right now.
Congratulations. Exciting. It's a good product. I feel like it also helps with hydration as well. I feel like it's the only acid, that does that. Like glycolic will
Hmm.
strip your skin,
Hmm.
damage your fibroblast of your skin. Salicylic will strip the oils, and this one actually hydrates afterwards.
Hmm. Congrats, Maria. Oh, thank you, Diane. I'm glad you got to be on for a little bit. We'll see you on the next one.
Time. What other questions does everyone have? I feel like we have just a little bit of time left to answer some very specific questions around masking. So if you have questions or need specific advice, let us know. I'm still going through them all.
If you could tell me a little bit more about the illuminating pearl mask. After she said that, I got some of that here. So tell
Oh,
me how I could be using this stuff. Oh my God, this is crazy. But I have like
Yeah,
my skin, I'm sorry, I'm not good at the typing thing, so I just
mm,
unmute myself. I'm sorry.
that's great.
But my skin, I like keloid and darken so quickly. And
Hmm.
then so I had like it was actually a hair coming out on my chin and I yanked it out. And then I got a zit the same spot. And then when I tried to squeeze it, now I got this big dark spot, like
Hmm.
just from squeezing, and I didn't even realize it. And my husband is like, "What's that big thing on your face?" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" So
Uh-huh.
help me, please, y'all.
Yeah. Well, so one of the really, one of the better things that happens when you have like a breakout that has had a little dark spot is usually those fade a lot faster than something like sun damage. So you're still probably going to take a little bit of time for that to fade. But the illuminating pearl mask, so some things in that one specifically that can help. If there's any kind of like dry scabbiness, if it's like an open, don't put anything on it. But if you've got just a scab, this is going to be very, very nourishing and feel really good in that area. But specifically in the illuminating pearl, we've got two ingredients, one called uva ursi, one called licorice root, which are tyrosinase inhibitors. So when there's been some sort of damage to the skin, whether that's pressing or there's been a breakout or a follicle damage, at a hair, or it's happened with the sun. Darker melanin moves its way up because it's perceiving threat, and so it's protecting lower layers of the skin. This might be too technical, but we're here. So, what uva ursi and licorice do, they seek out areas where the melanin has kind of been triggered, and they build up, they accumulate on that. And so they take a little time, but what they do is they find this melanin and they tell that it's safe now. It can rest, it can go back to sleep. And so this is where we're getting this active fading of things like, post-acne hyperpigmentation, sun damage, things like that. Now, with the mask, you don't use that as frequently as you would use something like a serum. So the wild fruit serum is another one that has those targeted brighteners in it. The citrus stem cell serum is another one that's got targeted brighteners in it. But the mask, you're probably going to do that maybe a couple times a week on the skin for, you can leave it on as long as it feels good. Most people are going to leave it on anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes or so. And then that sits on the skin. So it's more of a like bolster in a routine that already exists. It will work on helping to fade this, but it's not going to be as fast as if you had something like a serum that you're using morning and evening that's going to be working on fading dark spots. So what else is in that mask that can be helpful? There's honey in it. It has a natural luminosity. So, whether you're using it for this area that's got this dark spot on the chin, or if you want to just brighten up the overall complexion, the two brighteners combined with this crushed pearl powder, when you rinse it off, the skin just looks very radiant. It looks super dewy, super full, super lush, which is great, whether you've got dark spots or not. So, And how you use it, you want to cleanse your skin first. Most often, that's what we recommend. And then apply a nice thin layer all over the skin. I do get this one right up on the orbital bone. I really love it for under the eyes. I thought about putting it on this morning. I also am, fighting a cold. I've been sick, but I focused on gua sha. That was my route more than masking this morning. So I didn't use that one, but I love it under the eyes. There are mornings where I'll just pat that one under the eyes and then shower. Um, so yeah, and then leave it on as long as feels good. Usually for me, it's about an hour, maybe two, and then I rinse it off and do my toning mist, my serum, moisturizer. I'm good to go.
Thank you so much. You guys
You're
are,
welcome.
I just love what you do and more importantly, how you do it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Lisa. I do see a question in the chat that says, when should you avoid a mask? Oh, when should you avoid a mask? So, times that I would avoid, well, it's going to depend on the mask. I was going to say if I'm really sunburnt, I might not mask, but I might also. If I was really sunburnt, I might do the coconut honey, depending on where I'm at in the life cycle of the sunburn. And that would apply to something like if you get chemical peels or professional laser. The big thing with masking and like an obvious time that you wouldn't is like you don't want to be trapping heat in. Um, so none of these are super occlusive, but if you've just had like a full face laser treatment, you're probably better suited using something like hyaluronic acid and something like the cream, restorative facial cream, than a mask, something that has a lot more breathability. Otherwise, I think there would be specific one-off instances, if you have certain skin conditions, if you have skin conditions that you don't produce oil at all, those would be something that you'd want to be very mindful about the mask that you're using. Um, yeah. Or if you're very oily, maybe don't use the coconut honey. If you're very, very dry, you're just constantly seeking moisture, the charcoal cacao might not serve you in the same way. But as far as like overt contraindications, I think it would be kind of like specific instances that would determine that you don't want to use a mask. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that answered that. And then are all your products safe to use during pregnancy? So kind of yes, and let me pull up my FAQ on this because it's going to speak to it a little more clearly. There are some products, oops, let me spell pregnancy, right? That have certain essential oils that some health practitioners will might advise that you're not leaning towards. Um, let me
I
see.
my head while you're pulling it up. So just because I still remember. Uh,
Yeah.
Berry sage is one that you want to avoid, and jasmine is another one that you want to avoid. So because they could potentially, I think it's also in high concentrations, but those are two, like the smoothing hair serum and then um, a facial oil that has jasmine, like a higher percentage of jasmine, or like the love essential oil.
Yeah, perfect. Yep. And so this little link that I shared also is going to say basically the same thing. There are a couple essential oils. We use ours at, like pretty significantly low percentages, so that might be something to consider. But there's that information for you.
I do know that towards the end of my pregnancy, I read a lot. Like, if you want to start labor, smell clary sage. So just keep that in mind. Smooth serum if you don't want to start labor.
That's funny.
I've been looking for the percentage and it's all over the map because we've changed formulas that we haven't yet launched yet. So the current one there that you're using is at 18%. And I know you said 12% is ideal, but ours is a little bit different than a typical lactic acid. It's a little bit more mellow, so that's probably why it's at a higher percentage. The one that we will be launching in the coming years, we've changed we had a custom blend of lactic acid created just for us, which is the one that we're using in our botanical lactic toner. That one we're going to be using at a much lower percentage because we're using it at the max that the manufacturer of that ingredient recommends. And they say do not go above this. So we're using it at that max. So it's a little bit nuanced. Hopefully that's not too confusing. I can't remember who it was that asked that. But yes, it is a high percentage. I wouldn't go higher than what we're using. And when we do reduce it, it's because it is still as strong. And I have samples here of the new one at I think it's 5 or maybe 10% or 7%. And it's just as strong, if not stronger, than the current one at 18. So it just depends on what we're using. Again, the first one, the one that we have currently for the resurfacing facial exfoliant is derived from honey, and the new one that we're already using in the botanical lactic toner is from fruit and citrus. So I sent one to my mom recently, and she's absolutely obsessed.
Huh.
I mean, I have photos of her from before, and then she started taking photos of after, and she's just like, I'm going to become a brand ambassador. I'm obsessed.
Oh,
She
so
signed
sweet.
ambassador. She's doing her Instagram. It's really adorable, but and you can see it in her skin. Like I look at her skin, I'm like, wait, you have less wrinkles than I do. Like, how is so, so it's definitely, I think if you're trying to look for a product that will give you those like instant results, that's the one.
hmm Yeah, the lactic toner is a pretty game changer product. I do love that one quite a bit. Quite a bit. And I've been trying, so apply it at night. I don't do it every night. I probably do it maybe 3 or 4 nights in a row, and then I take some nights off. But the mornings after, I'll do a little scrub with this, the Radiancy Mask and Polish, and that just feels so bright. My face looks, smooth, dewy, extra full. I love that combo. So, um,
Am I able
yeah,
to ask another quick question?
of course.
Okay, now I also have citrus stem cell serum and probiotic serum. Can you tell
Mm-hmm.
me how I should be using this, and will that help me with my little spots?
Yeah, so they actually could help both in different ways, and I'll dive into it a little bit. The citrus stem cell serum, that is going to have those targeted brighteners. The probiotic serum might be helpful for, texture that comes up, maybe ingrown hairs. What the probiotic serum does, it's got both an olive leaf ferment and a probiotic complex. And it's helping to balance out the skin's natural flora. So this can be helpful for a lot of different skin issues, whether this is things like any kind of skin sensitivity where the skin microbiome needs extra support. So what that might look like for you is since you've got both of them, is you might have one that you're using in the morning and one that you're using in the evening. It also could look like maybe you're using the citrus stem cell serum morning and evening, and then you bring in and use the probiotic serum in place of that. You could use that one situationally. So it'll kind of come down to what your needs are, how regularly you're needing that extra microbiome support. But yeah, those are some ways that you could weave that in. And just in the last few minutes here for everyone, we do have a consultation call that's starting right after this. And in the consultation call, this is where we work on building basic routines. We're talking about how to use all of your products, so your cleanser, your toner, your serums, your moisturizers. Usually we get into eye products, and then if we have time, we get into things like scrubs and boosters and things like that. So I love for you to join us. But if that feels right, if that feels good for you, you can hop on over there. We've got a good 5 minutes left, so it's a good time to pop in any like lingering questions, anything that doesn't feel clear, maybe feels like incomplete with masks or masking. Um, when will the eye balm be available? Rach, I'll let you take it.
I'm hoping the summertime. There's so much happening.
Hmm.
Formula's done, so I feel like the feedback I've received from it is great. For the most part, I'm still waiting on a couple more to come through, but I'm thinking probably around June or July. We'll have how about the next live event? We'll get a PDP created, a product page created so that you can get on the wait list.
Mm,
Tell you.
yeah. I am also equally excited for that. I will say I have been blowing my nose a lot, and the only thing that feels so good is that eye balm, like all
The
over my
other night,
nose.
in the middle of the night, I'm like blowing my nose, like trying to be so gentle not to wake up my little one, and I'm like rubbing it all in my nose and around.
Dude, yeah, I've like put it on my pinkies and like put it up my nose, like because we get so dry in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're also excited for this one to come out when it comes out. Good, Kimberly.
That's great. Yeah. And if you have something on your mind, you're like, I wish we had a call on this, or I wish I could learn more about this, put it in the chat. I'm going to save this chat and then we'll use it when we do our planning meetings to plan out our quarterly calls.
Ooh.
For you.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Oh.
stay tuned. We are going to do a partner call with a dermatologist next month. Grace, I don't know if you have that date or if you guys have been planning that, but she is very in tune with our bodies, our emotion, our mind, and how that affects our skin. So she's taking that avenue of dermatology, which is great because you don't often hear that, and plugging in how your emotions can impact your skin and how your mind can do that, which is
Mm, that's super exciting.
okay. And this call will be available at some point. So stay tuned for that. Okay, April 14th. Cool. Great.
Yay.
Okay, so learning about the activated ingredients, retinol and vitamin C options.
Oh, why should we choose yours? Well, I mean, we've got 3 minutes. I'm gonna make it so short.
Shoot.
Thank you. So let me just point at the vitamin C for a moment. So vitamin C's, there's a million vitamin C's on the market. And a lot of times when you're buying a vitamin C, even clean brands, when they're making their product, they're starting with their vitamin C in a powdered form. When they put this powdered vitamin C into the final blend of their product, that vitamin C, it starts to activate. And so when it makes it to you after it's been, blended and crafted and then packaged and then on trucks and whatever, it's either already peaked in its activation and then it's fading, or it's gone so far that the vitamin C that you're getting is rancid. Our vitamin C, we use a tetrahexyl desulscorbate, which is a shelf-stable vitamin C. So this vitamin C, when you get it, I'm speaking to the vitamin C that we have in our Brighton, right? This pure concentrated vitamin C is a shelf-stable vitamin C. So this is not one that's, peaked in activation. This is active when you get it. Not only that, it's not a petroleum derivative, which is another thing that, as we're starting to look into how products are sourced or ingredients are sourced, like the fact that we have to make sure that we're getting vitamin C that's not derived from petroleum. This is another thing that we can say about ours specifically. So the vitamin C, just looking at that, not even touching on our retinol alternatives, not even touching on the made safe or our entire crafting process. I can speak to the vitamin C, and you know that you're getting a clean, actually clean, made safe approved vitamin C that is active. So,
And that's not just marketing to say, oh, it's not petroleum derived. Like I actually, when I first started, we were working with a couple of people with sourcing, and there was a vitamin C getting added or wanting to get added. And I started just diving in. I was talking to our product manager the other day, and I called the company and I was like, hey, I need some documentation on derivatives. And he's like, oh, it just depends. And I was like, great, what does it depend on? Like, what is it? He's like, it could be soy or corn or petroleum. And I was just like, well, no, that's not an option. He's like, well, you never know. And I was just like, okay, that's not good enough. And so that
Hmm.
actually, that's a natural vitamin C that is one of the shelf stable ones. So there's a lot to look at. I just think it's such a big conversation around how this beauty world of clean beauty is not so clean. And it's really sad that you have to do so much due diligence. But you want to talk about the retinol alternative really quick?
So fast. And then for pending questions, join us on the consult. Grace, if you want to link the consult. So we don't use a retinol. We don't use a traditional retinol. We use a retinol alternative called Bioactive A. And Bioactive A is not a retinol. It's not a retinoid. This is not altering gene expression. So what this is, it's a vitamin or it's a algae derivative. And it is providing the similar effect. So I love that you still get this very smooth, very glossy, very refined skin in a way that's not breaking the body down in the way that retinols do. It's not depleting, it's not thinning and like breaking and yeah, just exhausting the skin like traditional retinols can. It's working kind of synergistically with your body and providing this nice smooth feel. So I'll leave it at that. We are at time, so I'd love you guys to come hang out with me on the consult that's about to happen now. And yeah, we can answer some more questions over there. So I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Everyone for joining and adding to this. It's been great.
Yep. We'll see you guys on the next one and hopefully see you all in a moment. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.